there's a lot of different terms being used to describe the current Arsenal side. And I think for me personally, I think it's quite odd. It's not a criticism because it's rather quite a surprise, a good surprise that you're in this position. Excuse me, that you don't have a prominent scorer in the Premier League, like someone who is in the top three, four top goal scorers in the Premier League. Um, but you still are quite comfortably top so far. Obviously, you don't concede goals, so that's one of the biggest reasons why you don't concede many goals. That's one of the biggest reasons why you are top, which is obviously credit to you guys. But I think there's an issue with people with the brand of football now. People that know me, who know me, have heard me speak about football. I'm not an issue. I don't have an issue with the brand of football. To be quite frank, I like possession football. I like long ball football. I like defensive football. I like all out attack. I like wing play. I like target man football. I like differentiation. I think the one thing that people are struggling with about, and I don't know if you like the use of the word for this, um, but I think Arsenal are dirty. When I say dirty, now I'm going to elaborate.
Mm,
I'm going to elaborate because I think my definition of dirty is very different to how others are.
yeah.
Because when I said this last week to someone, they almost lost their head at me, and then I had to really elaborate as to why because they thought I was putting them in like a category of like a Ryan Shaw or Stoke
Mhm.
back in the day, or any other team that was a bit nasty back in the day. And no, those players, I don't want to accuse them of going out there to do it on purpose, but they were
Yeah.
they were causing serious injuries, concussions, breaking legs, so on and so forth. I think the best teams to have won leagues in the past, maybe apart from Leicester, have had a dirty side to them. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you have to have a little of nibble to you. I think you have to have a little of frustration where you do things to the opponent where you're testing the laws a little bit and you're on the line of it, on the cusp of it, where people are complaining, like, oh, look what they're doing to the goalkeeper. But it's like, if you're watching, like, are they really doing much to the goalkeeper? Because back in the day, we used to talk about, oh, goalkeepers get too much protection, and now you want it to be overly protected. Where's the balance? Are they just towing the line a little bit? I don't think it's a bad thing. Um, the little, little nibbles, the little snide comments that Declan Rice is the king of that now. CD, he'll make a challenge and turn around and look at the guy and say a little something, something, just pee him off. Um, and also being bad losers. Gabriel is quite a vocal player in terms of how he uses his social sometimes when Arsenal, like, for example, beat Tottenham and he's there posing with his hands on the chair and whatever. But then when they lose against United, he doesn't want to shake hands and all that. And I don't think that's horrible. Obviously, people want to see
Mm.
sportsmanship, they want to see shaking hands and whatever. But being a bad loser is good. You want to win. You want to have that culture of winning. So I don't think that's a bad thing. So I don't know if my use of the word dirty is just like for Arsenal fans, it's like a trigger because it's like, no, we're not like these guys. I'm not saying like you're those guys. If I thought you were like Stoke, I'll call you mini Stoke. That's what I'd call you. I'll be like, oh, look how you criticize Tony Pulis and you're just like him. No, I don't think you are like Tony Pulis' teams. Um, but that's my one thing. And the second thing is I think in a very big positive, it's good that you have been able to now compete and embrace aerial battles. Arsenal in the past have had tall players, Mertesacker being a giant as one of them, but there wasn't a period of time, I say post Sol Campbell Vieira era, where I'd be like Arsenal are dominant in the air. And I think your signings have been um, obviously technically they are very, very, very good. But there's also a meaning to signing these guys who are strong, who are 6 foot plus. Your Salibas, your Gabriels, your Marinos, your Gokereses, your Havertz, your Declan Rices, who are strong, tall players who can compete in the air because you need to have the ability to compete on the ground and in the air. Arsenal's issue in the past was no one could really outplay them on the pitch. So they would do everything to trigger them aerially and battle them and pee them off and elbow them and this that, and the other. They can't do that to them anymore because Arsenal give back. And that's not a bad thing. But for me personally, that's how I see it. The floor is yours, Mr. Gruner.
The funny thing is, it's crazy the agenda that's running with Arsenal, as if they aren't clubs who have done things like this in the past. Like look at Chelsea's Mourinho's Chelsea sides. They were just as physical. The same things Arsenal were doing, they were doing. The dark arts of wasting time, the dark arts of slowing down the game. Everything Arsenal's doing isn't anything new that clubs have been doing. I remember when we played Newcastle, when we beat them 2-1 with the Gabriel last minute header earlier this season. And Newcastle were wasting a whole load of time when they were playing against us, when they were 1-0 up and when it was 1-1. Nobody batted an eyelid or said anything. I think it's a disgrace what Hurzeler's done, and I choose those words specifically. And
Can we let's
yeah,
elaborate on that because
yeah.
he made comments before and after the
After.
game.
So that's yeah, and I'll tell
Yeah.
you why it's a disgrace because he's not winning games. But Brighton are a side who are all style, zero substance. They play good football, but they just lack an edge in the final third. Yes, they're great to watch in, but they just lack a decisiveness to win games and score goals where needed. The reason why I say what Hurtzler did was a disgrace and ridiculous is because he made the comments before the match, which I didn't understand why he did in the first place regarding the time waste and everything, as if other clubs in because the issue is that it's not an Arsenal thing. A lot of clubs are doing the same thing. The only issue is that Arsenal are winning and people don't like the narrative of the way the fans are kind of going on. So they chime on to Arsenal, but every club is doing it. Is Arsenal no different to what other clubs are doing? So he brought it up before the match. I said, okay, to influence the referees. That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Then throughout the whole match, he was moaning about every single thing. Oh, they're time wasting, they're doing it. I'm like, Arsenal not doing anything different from what they've been doing all season. And they're not doing anything different from what other clubs have been doing in terms of maybe the time taken to do things. Yes, sometimes Arsenal are slow in terms of maybe taking a throw in, taking a corner, but every other club in the league are doing it. This isn't an Arsenal thing. So he moaned all throughout the match to try and influence the referee. Didn't work. And then he then did the same thing after the match. And I was like, you've lost because everything he didn't want to focus on the fact that you didn't come prepared for Arsenal. You didn't find a way to outdo Arsenal on the pitch. That's on you. If your job is under pressure, that's on you. If you haven't got the results you want, that's on you. You can't complain before the match, then have no answers during the match, and then complain after the match because the reflection should have been on his management and his team not performing on the day, not about what Arsenal did. So for me, it was ridiculous that he complained even after the match about all of that, which is why I said it was a disgrace because he wanted to influence the referees and he couldn't. And he was upset that he couldn't influence the referees after the game. But for me, it's like Arsenal didn't play particularly well. So whose fault is that? Arsenal didn't play particularly well and won the game. That's not Arsenal's fault. That's Brighton's fault. Because what did Brighton do when they had the ball? Very little.
Okay, so let me ask a question because I think his problem, what I'm
Yeah.
assuming one
Mm-hmm.
of his problems is he feels like you guys. I think he made a comment to Hikapi, which was caught on camera about
Yeah.
play football or something along those lines.
So who cares? It's
And
win by all means. We don't have to. Like I said, I don't understand why people are dictating to other clubs how they should play football or how. Because I'm sorry, when Diego Simeone was playing his brand of football and winning things, yes, people don't like it, but people were praising that man for look at the way he tactically sets up his team. Look how organized his team, and he won things. So my thing is this: some managers just need to win things. I don't understand why these managers who have done absolutely nothing in the game are trying to dictate to other managers how they should play or how their team should play football. I'm sorry, we're not going to take advice from the likes of Hurzeler, who's done nothing and is on a bad run with Brighton of not winning games. So,
let me
so
ask you a
we're
question.
not going to listen to him for
Let,
that kind of advice as to how
let
to play football.
me
Because if we did, we'll be in the same position as Brighton.
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. Okay. Do you think people
Go
are zeroing on Arsenal more because of, I won't call it a fact, maybe of their opinion
on. Mhm.
that that time period I mentioned previously where you guys weren't, let's say you could get quote unquote
Mhm.
bullied off the pitch back in that
Mhm.
time, right? And a huge group of Arsenal fans hated that. They
Mhm.
hated that and they were critical of the football and the brand of football being played. Now that you're in that scenario yourself where your
Mhm.
brand of football is being called, I call it dirty, and whatever term is being used on social media
Mhm.
these days. Do you so? do you think there's a I don't know call you guys hypocrites, but do you think people are looking at that and just saying, well, this is what apparently you were all about, the beautiful game and this, that, and the other.
We, we can't we
What's
can't
the
we can't be hypocritical. The hypocrites are everyone else. Let me tell you why it's
Go on,
everyone else.
go on.
Because when Wenger was playing his football, people are saying he prioritized the style of football over winning things, over certain matches where maybe we just needed to be organized, we just needed to be structured just to win games and cross the line. They criticized him for it. They criticized Arsenal for being weak. What was the thing that, as you said, they mentioned all the time? Arsenal could be bullied. If you're physical with Arsenal, you can outdo them. You can win games. So
Yeah,
these were the things that they wanted Arsenal to change. We've seen all the commentary from all the pundits, from everyone about, oh, how Arsenal should be. They need to be more physical. Sometimes they need to ditch the pretty football and kind of win games ugly. We're doing all those things, and now the narrative has changed. 3 seasons ago, people were saying Arsenal just need to cross the line and win things. It doesn't matter how and win things, which is what we're doing this season. So I don't understand how the narratives have all changed from everyone else who are saying the things that we're doing now is what we should be doing to win things. Now we're doing it and implementing it. They're all complaining. I don't get it. You can't shift the narratives. You cannot shift the narrative. The aim of the game is to win things. No one cares how you do it. The only thing is that they care that you won things. We still remember the fact that Greece won the Euros in what, 2004, I believe it
yeah,
was, that they
2004,
won
yeah.
the Euros. No one cares how they did it. All we know is that Greece beat Portugal in that final and are European champions. We all remember Greece won that tournament. We don't care how they won that tournament. We knew the football wasn't great, but we remember it's etched in our memories that Greece won that tournament. Sometimes you just need to cross the line. If you've won things many times, then you can talk about the style and how you win things. It doesn't if you won things before, like one thing, then you can talk about how you win things. Like for instance, Real Madrid, they've been there many times where they've sacked managers because they didn't like the style of play, even though those managers have been successful. Chelsea have done exactly the same in the past, where Roman kind of wasn't just all about winning. I've won things and I want to win things in particular ways. So they sack managers because of that. But they can do that because they've had the luxury that before then we have a history of winning things. Arsenal don't. We haven't won a league in what, 22 years. So at this point, it's just cross the line. Once you've crossed the line, you can start to talk about how you win games. Because obviously, like I said, we've been criticized for not being able to just win games ugly, which is what Arteta's doing. I don't particularly like the brand of football. I think the football's been horrible, not just this season, also last season. But as fans, we can stomach that as long as they cross the line and win. It's ridiculous. You have people like Pardew and all these people saying, oh, if they win, there's an asterisk over it. What do you mean asterisk? Every club had 38 games to do something. If a team wins it, they deserve to win it. It doesn't matter how they win it, they deserve to win it because they've had 38 games to do it. You can't put an asterisk because you don't like the brand of football as to how they've done it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What it is Arsenal is just an easy agenda because with Arsenal, it gives people the biggest clicks. Arsenal are the club when they lose games, when things don't happen, and people talk about it, it gives people the most views. It gives people the most attention, bigger than more than any other club. So they're just easy pickings for everyone else because the narrative people are painting for me is ridiculously lazy. You can't keep shifting the goalposts when it comes to Arsenal because you criticize Arsenal for not crossing the line. Now they're finding a method to try and cross the line because the season's not over. They're being criticized for it. Who cares? As long as Arsenal win and win the league, that's the most important thing to them.
Fair.
It's a joke. Honestly, it's just a joke. It's just agendas. And here's the thing: I can understand the agendas if Arsenal are not doing well, but when they're doing well, it's like how can you still run agendas when they're doing the very thing that you've wanted them to do for the last 3-4 years, which is hey, find a way to win things. They've criticized Arsenal a lot for not winning things and how they haven't won things and the moments as to which maybe they've let things slip away. Now they're kind of learning from that and kind of finding a different method. So at least then it's not the same narrative that's painted for Arsenal that we've seen over the last few years. They're still being criticized for it. It's ridiculous.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I think
Like,
though,
here's the thing, I can say this, Kojo. If it's I can understand it from a neutral and other fans. If you don't like the brand of football and how Arsenal, I can understand because You're not associated with Arsenal. So it is horrible to watch
Mm.
for everyone outside the club. When then it's come, let's just be, I always say, let's be sensible with our opinions. You can hate it and say, hey, but at the same time, you have to appreciate they're getting the job done. And the point of this at this point of the season is get the job done.
All I'm gonna say, yeah, is
Yeah.
this goes back all the way back to when I said I blame Pep, and I'm
Mm.
not saying that. And when I say I blame Pep,
Okay.
Pep hasn't done it on purpose, but
Mm.
he obviously had a brand of football that set pace for everybody,
Yeah.
and you had people all over the world trying to copy it, and many, I say 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100, whatever metric you want to use,
Yeah.
you used it poorly. The execution was poor.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
pass out from the back, but you lose possession. And there's two things they're missing: the quality of player
Yep.
and
Agree.
the finances to buy new players if it's not
Yep.
working with the current set.
Mhm. Agree.
And because that sort of brand was ingrained in everybody's heads, and the country started saying we need to do this brand of football, and it needs to be quote unquote attractive. And I think attractive is whatever you deem attractive. Some people will love long ball
Mhm.
football and deem that attractive, but because the overall picture, majority were like, no, I want to see the Pep style, and I want to see tiki taka, I want to see this, I want to see that. A lot of people jumped on that wave. So now when you're playing a different brand of football to that, it's called nasty, it's called ineffective, it's called
Yeah.
this, it's called that. And yeah, I can't believe I'm defending you guys on this because quite frankly, I want you and Manchester City to both fall down and lose and someone else win the league. But the point is, if you cannot understand that in the game of football, teams will not go and play the way you want to play to win, then that's a you problem. I'll criticize Slot a lot this year because all season he's spoken about, they can't we can't play against a team like this because they're doing set pieces and long throws and set pieces and long throws. I'm like, well, you have to find a way to deal with it. You
Yeah.
haven't got a small team, by the way. Zoboslai is tall. Konate is a big, strong man. I haven't
Virgil
even
van
got to
Dijk.
Van Dijk. We haven't even got to Van Dijk yet.
Gravenberch is quite tall as well.
Gravenberch is tall and strong as well. And before that, you had Darwin Nunez a lot. It's not our fault that you went to go and buy two small guys in Kirkes and
Frimpong.
Frimpong, who are not near the height of Robertson and Trent, who and Trent wasn't even the best defensively, but at least he had a bit of height, so it's something to work with. You know what I mean? And he's talking about, we didn't see this coming. If we didn't see this coming, we wouldn't have signed this guy and this guy. Well, that's that's what you sign smart for. In Eredivisie, you can have small players because they don't really do aerial battles 9 times out of 10. Yeah,
Mm.
corners, yes, but maybe not long balls and long throws and stuff. In Premier League, that's prevalent this year, and it is what it is. It is
Yeah.
what it is. So and even my team, people forget stats are so clear to see. Yesterday, we'll talk about Spurs another time. Don't worry about that. But Spurs lost their game, and they actually showed a stat that goals from corners, Arsenal had 16, they had 13. So you would think, the way some of them talk about their club saying, "Oh, Arsenal are doing this and that from corners," that these guys don't score from corners, but you're getting goals one way or another. Might not be the same method, but
I
set
give you,
pieces are prevalent.
I
Man
give
United
you,
have got I think we're like two set piece goals away from you in like the overall
yeah,
picture.
something. I,
Everton tried your style of crowding the box and all that, and we had to battle through that and make sure that they couldn't do it. And it is what it is. So I think there's a snobbery that's been there
I
for a
give
long time
you,
in football.
yeah, I give you the biggest problem is that what's happening is that managers are being found out because everyone tried to play the same style that Pep tried to do, playing out for the back. So obviously, in a way, you can kind of cancel each other out.
Yeah,
What you're now finding is that other managers, let's say Arteta, are finding different ways. Oh, we can find a different edge in another way. Corners, physicality,
yeah,
um, and things like that. So what we're finding out is that managers aren't finding solutions because they're lazy. That's what it is. They're not as good as what we think they are. They're not adaptable. And I give you an example. In the Arsenal game with Brighton, and I'll go back to Hurzeler, he complained a lot. But the reason why I complained is because he found no answers to the way Arsenal played and the way Arsenal were in that game. But then other teams have. If I take, for instance, Brentford and Wolves, the reason why Brentford and Wolves were successful against Arsenal is this. Arsenal aren't good when you press them. The midfield is not good when you press them. When you give the Arsenal midfield 1 to half a second to think of what the next move of the pass is, they're not good. So they panic and they play safe, or they don't make the right passes. Because Arsenal are effective when you give them time on the ball, because teams usually sit back with Arsenal. So the midfielders have 2, 3, 4 seconds to make a decision on the ball. And when you give them that time, they're very good on the ball. When you take away that time from those Arsenal midfielders, they're not good. They're not press resistant. The likes of Zubimendi, the likes of Rice in that midfield, which is what Brentford and Wolves did. So you'll notice Arsenal struggled to keep the ball against both teams as soon as the Brentford players were aggressive and pressed them really well and gave them no time on the ball. So they found solutions. So what I'm saying is that managers are not finding solutions against these teams. And what I've found and what I've come to realize is that all these managers do is try to replicate what the other team is doing. So Arsenal have decided set pieces is their thing. Now every manager is trying to do the set pieces. Long throws has come in this season. Now every manager is trying to implement long throws because they don't have ideas. All they're thinking is, oh, if we copy them, we can nullify them. For me, that's poor management. Because the difference is with Arsenal, the reason why Arsenal differ from every other club is that, yes, we score a lot of goal from set pieces, but we create a lot of chances from our set pieces too, which is what other clubs don't do, which is why the numbers itself, because I've always said the biggest thing with Arsenal is the deliveries are quite good on a consistent basis, and also the movement and where the players position themselves is quite consistent and good from Arsenal. Other clubs are trying to replicate that, but they don't have the same level of delivery and they don't have the same movement or positioning in the way that Arsenal players do. So I'm like, you're trying to replicate something which it seems you're not even working at properly. You think, oh, they're doing it, we can replicate the same. But you can tell Arsenal have worked on this. You can tell that this is a strategy. You can tell with the other clubs, they haven't worked on it. It's not their strategy. They're just lazy to find a way to counteract it. So it's like, if everyone's doing it, we'll copy it and we'll see if it works. But for me, it's just laziness from all these other managers. And what it's doing is it's showing them up and highlighting them and exposing them. That these managers are not as good as we think they are. And then some of them don't have their own ideas. They're just replicas of what they're seeing, which for me is the way that the game is heading, which is why we don't see a plethora of good managers, good and upcoming managers in the game now. Because as soon as these managers make the step up to big clubs, they get exposed. We've seen it from so many of them. They look good they look good when they break through. Put them at a bigger club, exposed. They're not as good because they don't have ideas. They're not adaptable. They can't think on the job.
Fair enough. All right, last questions from me, and then
Yeah.
back to Hurzeler brother
Yeah.
Brighton game.
Yeah.
So I think the stat that went around was 30 minutes and 55 seconds.
Let me quickly say something in regards to that, because there have been many clubs who've wasted Arsenal. So they used that for Arsenal. They brought it out. There's stats that show that there's other clubs during the season who have wasted more time during the game. So what they did is they tried to paint that with Arsenal for this match. But then if you go back, there's other clubs who've wasted more time.
I'm I I mean, I'm not going to debate the other clubs doing that. A lot of clubs do that, but I was going to allude that I think it was Opta if I remember correctly, showed a graphic or graph rather, whatever, a chart. No, it was a chart, not a graph. It was a chart. Of the percentages, and you guys were, I think you were second or third, in terms of like time of ball being outside of play that time. So, again, now we spoke about brand of football beforehand. Obviously you're quite clear to say you don't enjoy it, but you guys are winning games, so that's the aim of the game, to win. It doesn't matter about how it's done. But the question again is this: do you think that that's going to be factored down upon by, I don't know what you want to call them, the FA or whoever?
The thing is I don't know what they're cracking down on, because the issue isn't the amount of time the ball is out or in play. The issue is the quality of football. So you can crack down on things. It doesn't improve. It doesn't improve the product. Because the biggest issue why we're having this is because we don't have that many quality players. So you can put in all these things. Players need to throw the ball in play within 3 seconds. You can't, a goal kick must be taken within 5 seconds. It doesn't change anything. Like all these, this is what I'm saying is ridiculous. What these people are doing, they're moaning about things that doesn't improve the game. You may have the ball in for a full 90 minutes and it doesn't go out. The game is still going to remain the same. If it's not entertaining with how it is now, it's not going to be entertaining keeping the ball in play longer. So this is what I'm saying is that yes, they will crack down on it at some point because these people who make these decisions know nothing about football. And what is it? It's an easy agenda for managers to cover why maybe they're not doing so well because it's easier to blame all of these other factors rather than looking at the cell. But what I'm saying is that football as a whole just isn't entertaining anyway because we don't have entertainers on the pitch. There's a stat that shows now the people with the most touches were defenders and goalkeepers compared to maybe 10 years ago where it was midfielders and creative players. That's got nothing to do with the stat of the ball being in play or not being in play. It's down to the type of players that are coming through and how people are being coached and the manager's ideals. So I'm saying is that they're focusing on all the wrong things. For me, football is the same as me. I don't care whether it's in play less or more time. It doesn't, if I'm not enjoying the match, I'm not enjoying the match. I will still switch off and go do something else. If it's entertaining, you don't even focus on the fact that maybe the ball was out of play for like 25 minutes, 20 minutes, because you just enjoy the match. So this is my thing is, yes, they will crack down on it, but they're focusing on all the wrong things, in my honest opinion, because none of this will improve the product. None of this will make games any more entertaining than it is right now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there.